Welcome to A2S Learning. In this video, we will study about cardiac conduction system and cardiac cycle. Before discussing about cardiac cycle, let us have an overview of cardiac conduction system. This system consists of specialized cardiac musculature called the nodal tissue. A patch of this tissue is present in the right atrial wall just inferior to the opening of superior vena cava, which is called as sinoatrial node. Another mass of this tissue is seen in the septum between the two atria close to the atrioventricular septum called as atrioventricular node. From atrioventricular node, bundle of nodal fibers continues through atrioventricular septa to emerge on the top of interventricular septa and divides into right and left bundle. This is known as AV bundle or atrioventricular bundle. These branches give rise to minute fibers called as Purkinje fibers. These fibers along with right and left bundle is known as bundle of His. Thus, the nodal musculature has the ability to generate action potentials which occurs in the following sequence. Firstly, the cardiac excitation normally begins in sinoatrial node. Following the action potential, the atria contracts and then the action potential reaches atrioventricular node. From atrioventricular node, it reaches atrioventricular bundle and finally Purkinje fibers resulting in contraction of ventricles. This electrical activity of conduction system is the reason for the heart's continuous beating. The sinoatrial node can generate the maximum number of action potentials, that is 70 to 75 times in 1 minute, and is responsible for initiating and maintaining the rhythmic contractile activity of heart. On average, a heart beats 72 times per minute. And the sinoatrial node is also called as the natural pacemaker of heart. So now let us start with cardiac cycle. Cardiac cycle is a sequential event which is cyclically repeated and includes systole and diastole of atria and ventricles. To examine and correlate the events taking place during a cardiac cycle, we will begin with this state where all the four chambers of heart are in a relaxed state, that is, they are in joint diastole. During this state, the tricuspid and bicuspid valves are open and semilunar valves are closed. Blood from the pulmonary veins flows into left atrium and blood from superior vena cava and inferior vena cava flows into right atrium. And then blood from right and left atria flows into right and left ventricle through tricuspid and bicuspid valves respectively. Now, the sinoatrial node generates action potential which stimulates both the atria to undergo a simultaneous contraction which is called as atrial systole. This increases the flow of blood into the ventricles by about 30%. Next, the action potential is conducted to the ventricular side by the atrioventricular node and atrioventricular bundle, from where the bundle of His transmits it to the entire ventricular musculature. This causes the ventricular muscles to contract and at the same time the atria undergoes relaxation. Ventricular systole increases the ventricular pressure, causing the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valves. The ventricular pressure increases further and semilunar valves are forced to open, which allows the blood to flow from right ventricles to lungs and from left ventricles to all the parts of the body. Then the ventricles relax and the ventricular pressure falls, causing the closure of semilunar valves, and as the pressure declines further, the tricuspid and bicuspid valves open and the heart returns to joint diastole state. Soon, the sinoatrial node generates a new action potential and the events described are repeated in the same sequence and the process continues. The duration required to complete one cardiac cycle is 0.8 seconds. During a cardiac cycle, each ventricle pumps out approximately 70 ml of blood, which is called as a stroke volume. The stroke volume multiplied by the heart rate gives the cardiac output, where heart rate is the number of times our heart beats per minute. Cardiac output is defined as the volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle per minute and averages 5000 ml or 5 liters in a healthy individual. The stroke volume and heart rate can vary based on the type of work done by us. For example, athletes will have higher rate and stroke volume compared to an ordinary man. So, our last topic for today is what causes the sound lub-dub, which is heard through stethoscope. The first heart sound lub is caused by closure of AV valves, that is atrioventricular valves, and the second sound dub is caused by the closure of semilunar valves. So that's it for this session. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please do like and subscribe to my channel.